Like,
yeah,
I would.
I like scoring touchdowns.
A great defense.
Look, I would rather have, and I mean, we've had the Carlson brothers. Every time I turn in the NFL, there's like an Auburn guy kicking a field goal.
I swear. Now we got McPherson's
Now we got
brother.
McPherson's kid, or McPherson's
He doesn't even look like
brother.
he's having fun.
Yeah.
He's kicking 50-yarders and not having
Hit
fun.
a 53-yarder. Texas A&M was like, yeah.
We'll see, like, challenge me.
He's
Yeah.
a freshman.
Yeah, he's like 13.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Golly.
Then his brother's up there for the Bengals, like, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, it's in. It's like, not even having fun. But then we sent our offense out there. Down.
Yeah.
Maybe if McPherson needs to play quarterback.
Might as well try it.
I mean,
Well,
you saw what Michigan did with the towel
Every
boy.
time we cross the 50, just kick it. Just kick it.
Look,
Every time you cross the 50, just kick
Get a
it.
3.
You never turn it
we
over.
need someone to win an award at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Little McPherson.
Get the grows up.
Get that grows
We
up.
always got some Australian punter, too, that's
Yeah,
just,
I love it.
you know, putting another shrimp on the Barbie and landing balls inside the 20.
That's talent. That's
Wish
talent.
we could score a touchdown.
Yeah, the other two phases.
We'll find out. We got call-ins today again, boys.
We did it.
Line was down yesterday.
Pay the bill.
Now it's up. Now it's up. We're excited.
Yeah.
Florida State's victories over Clemson and LSU give them the best resume in the country right now. Joe Burrow and the Bengals get their first win of the season last night. And Joe Namath has harsh words for Zach Wilson and the Jets. I'm Jake Crane, and welcome to the Tuesday edition of Crane and Company. Now, y'all know I was one of the first people to congratulate Ohio State on their big road win over Notre Dame. They really needed it pushing forward. But FSU dropping a spot behind Ohio State in the latest AP poll is an absolute joke. Because when you compare resumes, none of it makes sense. I mean, let's just look at it. FSU has 2 high-quality wins over LSU and Clemson. Neither one of those games was at home. Ohio State really has 1 high-quality win over Notre Dame on the road, which it's a great win, but it's not 2. Now, when you look at their schedules so far, you tell me which one is harder. Ohio State's played Indiana, Youngstown State, Western Kentucky, and Notre Dame. Florida State's played LSU, Southern Miss, Boston College, and Clemson. You don't have to be Goodwill Hunting or be able to solve a Rubik's Cube in less than 30 seconds to figure out which one of those schedules has been more difficult so far. Both Ohio State and Florida State are both big-name brands in college football. So can anybody give me one good reason, just one, a single reason, why Florida State should have been jumped by Ohio State? You can't, because it doesn't exist. Now, that doesn't mean down the road Ohio State won't wind up being better than Florida State, but we have to be present where our feet are right now. But it's one of the main reasons why I'm overjoyed, and it brings me personal blossoming joy, that the AP poll was removed when it comes to carrying weight and who gets to make the biggest stage of the college football postseason. To be honest with you, I wouldn't care if they just got rid of the thing overall, because in reality, it's just used as a prop to give people in sports media like us something to talk about during the week, which I'm doing right now. But in reality, serves no purpose, because guess what? It's football season. We have actual games to analyze and matchups to break down, including some thrilling ones this weekend. Now, I've already spent too much time breaking this joke of a poll down, but it really pisses me off that you have people in the sports media that vote on these things. I need to see who voted where. I need to know who voted this. I want transparency. Hell, let's have a press conference. Let's gather everybody around and play a game of Give Me 3 Reasons. But anyways, let's get to the real poll, the poll you all care about, the Crane and Company Power Rankings poll, where truth comes to frolic and the BS is left at the door.
Huzzah!
David Cohn, why do I care so much about the AP poll?
Because it matters. Oh, why, about the AP poll? I don't know why you care about the AP poll.
No, I know I
why
care
do you
about
care
this.
about college football? Because it matters.
Oh, of course. Of course. Former Michigan quarterback David Cohn, my brother, former Western State Colorado wide receiver Blaine Crane. Who has a better resume right now than Florida State.
Nobody. You're right about that.
Nobody does.
They do have the best resume. So not only that, but I want to see marquee matchups in college football more than I want to see undefeated teams. So I think we should reward that, even though a reward, I mean, the AP poll is next to meaningless. So putting Florida State higher in the AP poll doesn't do that much. But look, if it tells teams, hey, if you're going to go on the road and you're going to play a team like Clemson and you're going to open with LSU, even though you don't have to, and you're going to win those football games, that should be rewarded. Now, when I look at Florida State right now, I still see things that they have to fix. Right?
Oh yeah,
they're
have
not plenty
perfect.
to fix. But part of like not looking great on the field is because you're playing really tough competition. Like if Michigan and Georgia are playing that level of competition right now, do they have a loss, or did they look as good as they've been looking? So if you wanted to punish those top two teams and move them back to 4 and 5 or 7 and 8 or 8 and 9, look, I can get down for it, even though the schedule is going to get tougher for those two teams. But when I look at Texas right now, I think Texas I would still put ahead of Florida State. It's tough. I like the way Oregon's playing right now, but if we're just going on the best resume and we want to reward that because you played the hardest competition, then you got to tip your hat to Florida State. And look, they're still going to play a Florida Gators team who's looking better and better, and it's an in-state rivalry. You're still going to have to play another rival in-state in Miami that's looking better and better. So Florida State's got some tough games still ahead, too.
Yeah, they're not in the clear yet. But Blaine, I'm not on the other hand, we're not going to punish Georgia and Michigan for winning. If Ohio State was in front of Florida State before this and Florida State didn't jump them, I'd be fine with that. I would still be fine with that because I don't want to punish people for winning. You've got to, until you show me who you are, I'm not going to punish you or you lose that early game. But the fact that Florida State was in front of Ohio State, beat LSU. Look, Boston College on the road, that's not exactly a walk through the tulips on red band.
It's a road win.
Like it's a road conference win.
Conference win.
I mean, it's Indiana on the road. I'm not saying that's the easiest game to open up the season for Ohio State. But if we're going to sit here and compare and take a team that's ranked behind them and move them in front of them, there better be a pretty damn good reason why you do that. And one win over Notre Dame on the road compared to a win against LSU in a neutral site and on the road at Clemson, which in a game that Clemson had to have, a game that they had to have to be able to have a legitimate chance to still win a national title, or in reality, have a chance to play for a conference.
Well, what's the criteria? Like, what's the entire criteria for deciding these things? And, like, what's the percentages on blending of what you believe in? Because sooner or later, I mean, the eye test matters, right? Resume matters. At what point in a season? Because if you, like, when do you get punished? Say, like, Georgia's 8-0, all right? 8-9-0, hadn't really played a great football team. Then you go look at a Florida State or a Notre Dame who's played a great, hell of a schedule. You dropped one against Ohio State, all right? So at what point does that one loss just punish Notre Dame if you're Georgia and you've played 8 scrubs and Notre Dame, you looked phenomenal the entire year?
Well, I don't think Georgia's playing 8 scrubs. I mean, you got to go on the road at Tennessee.
But strength of schedule matters.
But at some point, if you win all the games, that's worth more than playing a tough schedule and losing 2 of them.
Yeah, well,
at some point, no one's schedule's so easy that if you go undefeated, you could just get laughed at.
Well, you get to show your work. Like, eventually it works itself out for Georgia and Michigan. Like, we're going to find out down the road. But I'm not going to punish you within the first 6 weeks because you started here, we ranked you here, and you won all of your games. Like, it just, I'm trying to see the reasoning. If Florida State would have jumped up to number 1 in the AP poll, and then it put Ohio State number 2, I would have been more fine with that than them putting Ohio State in front of Florida State.
Well, what's interesting here in the AP poll is that FSU got far more first place. Well, I say far more. They got 3 times. They got 3 first place votes. The Buckeyes got 1 first place vote. Texas is at 3. They got 2 first place votes. Michigan's ahead of them. They only got 1 first place vote. And Georgia's sitting there with 55. And then Penn State got none at 6. And Washington down at 7 got 1 first place vote.
It just it makes no sense to me. It's like they just try and thread some sort of imaginary needle. But we want to know what you think. We're taking live calls today at 8:15 a.m. Eastern. That's 7:15 a.m. Central at 1-855-236-3228. Make sure you subscribe if you're not subscribed, if you're watching us on YouTube, if you're watching us on social media. Make sure you head over to YouTube, subscribe, head over to the Daily Wire Plus, and sign up. We keep it about ball. Let's go and get to the Booster Club.
Let's go to Max Irwin. He says, if we are playing the just resume game, Georgia and Michigan have to go down, right?
Well, I'm not playing the just resume game. What I'm saying is, if this is in reaction to a team jumping a team. This is not saying, okay, Florida State they do have the best resume in the country so far, but I'm not going to punish Georgia and Michigan for not having played a Notre Dame or an LSU or whatever. Because remember, Georgia did schedule Oklahoma. That got bumped back. I'm not going to punish them for that because they haven't lost. My problem is with Ohio State jumping Florida State. It's reactionary to Ohio State jumping Florida State. You're going to see in our power poll when we bring it up, we're not going to punish teams for losing. Now, because eventually we're going to find out. We are going to know how good Georgia and Michigan is at some point. But how can I sit here and say, all right, I'm going to start you here. Oh, you haven't lost a game, or maybe you haven't looked perfect, but I'm going to drop you back behind somebody. That makes about as much sense to me as taking somebody with less of a resume and moving them in front of somebody with a better resume. To me, they're on the inverse sides of the spectrum, but they both make no sense. So this isn't a Florida State is better than every other team in the country. This is Florida State has a better resume than everybody else in the country. So why the hell would you take a team behind them and jump them that doesn't have as good as a resume? That's what my argument is.
Especially when both of those teams barely won their games.
For sure.
I mean, it wasn't like the Buckeyes blew Notre Dame out by 45 points and Florida State had to hold on and barely win against Clemson. Like, both those situations were very similar this weekend.
No, I agree.
All right, let's go to Spiricus Media. He says, FSU has yet to play a complete game this year and still has beat LSU and Clemson.
I agree with that.
Yeah, there's not a perfect team in college football this year. There is not that team that we're looking up on the top of the hill saying, all right, here they are. Can anybody else catch them? Can anybody else develop enough through the year, or will they go down enough to be able to come back down to earth? But what I will say that I like about Florida State is I do think they have a little bit of everything. They just haven't put it all together yet, and you're still undefeated. Offensively, Jordan Travis is scrambling to throw the ball now. Obviously, he'll take off when he has to, but I think that has put so much more pressure on defenses, and I would much rather you choose, as a defensive guy, choose one or the other. Either you're going to scramble to run, or you're going to extend the play outside the pocket and you don't want to run and you want to throw it. Jordan Travis is extending the play with his eyes down the field. We know they have a good run game and offensive line. Keon Coleman showed up big first game, disappeared for a little bit. She shows up big in big games. Some guys just show up big in big games. I thought Jaheim Bell looked better, and we know defensively, right, what Florida State is. But here's the thing with Florida State. You're going to get everybody's best shot. It's pretty obvious who the best team in the ACC is right now. And I love North Carolina and what they're doing. Picked them to go 10-2. But I don't trust North Carolina nearly as much as I do Florida State. So it's going to be Florida State. It's going to be everybody's Super Bowl this year, including Florida at the end. And I'm trying to remember where that game is. I want to say it's in the Swamp, but I may be wrong.
I got it right here.
Because I feel like
that's the scariest thing about Florida State is they're still undefeated and they haven't put a full game together yet.
That should give you the most hope.
It's in the Swamp.
In the Swamp, that's what I thought.
All right, let's go to Adam Robinson. He says, as a Georgia fan, I would be completely okay with us dropping a couple spots because we have struggled more than we should against teams that we shouldn't have.
Well, again, I think, too, I would understand that. Again, I'll say this again. I would understand that more than Ohio State jumping Florida State. Yeah, if the AP poll came out and said, all right, here's what we got. Florida State's number 1. Texas is number 2, Ohio State's number 3, Georgia's number 4, Michigan's number 5. I would understand that a whole hell of a lot more than Ohio State jumping Florida State. It makes more. Now, I don't agree with it, and we're going to get to ours here in a second, and we obviously don't agree with it. But to me, there's a logical reason you can explain that to me. You can sit me down, hold my hand like a 5-year-old walking through Kroger, and explain to me why that makes sense. If you're saying true resume from this year on, no carryover from last year, no belief in seeing a team evolve like they did last year, you can explain that to me.
So tough wins early pay more late than they do. You're rewarded more late than you do early because if you realistically, I mean, Florida State's not getting rewarded. I'm not saying putting them down. I'm saying like putting them up. They're not getting rewarded for these wins.
That's what Cohen was saying. Like, what message are you sending to teams that you're going to drop a spot because you scheduled LSU in the non-conference week 1, and then you went to Clemson and won that game, but now we're going to punish you?
That was what Urban Meyer's point was this past week.
As AP poll voters?
Yeah, Urban Meyer's point this past week before the Buckeyes played Notre Dame was, Michigan and Georgia aren't scheduling anybody, and I'm afraid that's going to become the norm. It's just funny to me that he said it the week after the Buckeyes had played Western Michigan and and Michigan's played Notre Dame 45 years, and Buckeyes have played them 6 times. So.
But I mean, tough wins are going to help you. Strength of schedule at the end, it's just like college basketball.
Yeah.
At the end, that's when it's going to help you the most, even if you lose a game. That's why I called LSU and Florida State the biggest insurance game, or the State Farm game, or the Geico game, or the Progressive game of the year, because you can lose that one, do really well the rest of the way, and you come back and say, hey, week 1, we lost to a really good Florida State team. We're 11-1. I'd put that resume against right now. If Notre Dame finished 11-1, didn't play in the conference championship game, LSU finished 11-1, won the conference championship game, LSU's getting in over Notre Dame.
Yeah, like you're in the conference.
Well, it's not even that. To me. LSU played that game on a neutral site, which we say neutral is in the state of Florida, right? It was non-conference. For Notre Dame, everything's non-conference. And my main argument is it wasn't at home. So I just feel like you can argue what Adam's saying a lot more logically than you can argue what actually happened. All right, one more quickly.
Let's go to Will Eubanks with a $5 donation. Appreciate it, Will. Says the number 1 spot should be earned, not given, for something you did last year with different players and different coaches.
Well, I see, and I understand that. I get that argument. That's why I don't think we should have a poll shouldn't come out until week 3, really, when we know. But that's not how the world works. And I trust development through the year. This doesn't get talked about enough. It's not, to me, it's not saying, well, you won it last year, so you're automatically number 1 in the country this year, regardless of who you lost. But we've seen Georgia, who's won it back-to-back years, lose a bunch of players, bring back a couple key pieces, then develop through the year to get good enough to win the thing at the end.
The great one.
So to me, it's not just about, hey, you're starting at 1 because you won it last year. We've seen you reload. We've seen you develop through the year, and we're trusting that because this is a marathon, not a sprint, right? And if you want to do your power ranking polls that way, I get it. Again, you can explain it to me more logically, but let's not act like Georgia hasn't earned the benefit of the doubt with the way they've been able to reload, replace, regroup, and go dominate. That's what I'm believing. And look what Michigan returned. You got 7 offensive linemen that can get drafted, your quarterback, your whole backfield, some key pieces on defense. Michigan should have been ranked there.
The only poll that matters is the college football playoff poll, because that's who will select the spots, and those rankings don't start until October 31st.
Yep. Which I like, but that makes sense. It's the other ones. It's the ones on the periphery. But we talk about having good defenses on here, being a complete team. You need a good defense in real life, because I don't know if you ever searched your name on the internet and seen how much your info and your personal life is available for anyone to see. It would shock you. It would absolutely shock you. I did it when we were talking to Delete Me. They're a fantastic company. I didn't realize about kind of how the data brokers worked and stuff like that. Corporations collect huge amounts of your personally identifiable info and package it all together to create profiles or listings. Basically, they're putting your info out there to try and sell you stuff and use it against you. That's what they're doing. All right, so you need a good defense. All right, and you don't need to call Dan Lanning over at Oregon. You don't need to call Kirby Smart over there at Georgia. You need to hit up our friends over at Delete Me. They are a hands-free subscription service that will remove your personal info that's being sold online. It's really simple. You submit the info you'd like to have removed online, and Delete Me's experts will search the internet to find it and remove your personal info. I just got my first report back from Delete Me because they send you a report. Man, there's stuff all over the internet.
Yeah.
And not like, hey, Jacob Hines on Florida State. It's like stuff that they could really use against you. And now you can get 20% off your Delete Me plan when you go to joindeleteme.com/Crane. That's joindeleteme.com/Crane, CRAIN, and use promo code Crane, CRAIN. That's the only way to get 20% off. Go to joindeleteme.com/Crane and use our promo code Crane, CRAIN, at checkout. JoinDeleteMe.com/Crane. Use that promo code Crane. I'm telling you, Just trust me on it. Search your name. Do it when you get done watching the show or listening to the show. It'll blow your mind.
Scary stuff.
But something else that'll blow your mind. We have a merch store full of clothes and goodies and candles and all sorts of stuff. We're going to put the link in the chat. If you haven't grabbed anything, if you're thinking about donating in the chat today, one way to donate, head over to the merch store. Buy some stuff. We got some great ideas. We want to put some new stuff in there, so check it out. All right, David. Let's get to the Crane & Company College Football Power Ranking poll of justice, truth, friendship, life, loss, and lessons. All right. We're going to let y'all pick number 10. Blanye.
That will be between USC and Oklahoma. Correct.
Yes.
Correct. All right, Booster Club, I'm going to put a poll. You know what to do, baby. Go hit that button, and you go vote USC because USC deserves to be 10.
No, I disagree. I think it's Oklahoma. Who would you pick on a neutral site right now? I think that's the best way to answer that question. All right, so we're going to start at 1. We're going to get to 10. We're going to let the Booster Club pick in the comments, too. Underneath, tell us who you would pick. So when we're done with the live show, I want to go back and see kind of where everybody lands on that, too, that's not watching live. Number 1, we're going to keep Georgia there. You know our methodology. Development throughout the year. Think Carson Beck's going to continue to get better and better. We're going to find out a little bit more about Carson Beck.
God, he looks like Sid from Ice Age.
I know he does. But I think they're starting to take the training wheels off a little bit. We saw that in the second half against South Carolina. Big first road test for Carson Beck going to Auburn. I don't know if they can score more than 10 points, so it feels like Carson's a little bit protected in this.
It's another one of those things where Carson Beck is going to have to lose the game for Georgia.
Yeah, I agree with that. So Georgia at 1. David, Michigan at 2.
Michigan at 2. They go on the road for the first time this week to Nebraska. Jim Harbaugh was back last week, like we talked about, to give up a 69-yard touchdown pass on basically the second play of the game. But for the rest of the game, they look pretty sharp. So, and I tell you, J.J. McCarthy's pulling the zone read better than I've ever seen him do. Like, finally, in year 3, he's pulling the zone read in the correct spots. That's one of the things that has me excited when I watch them.
All right, we got Florida State at number 3 coming off their big win against Clemson. We've had Florida State here for a while.
Yeah.
We in the beginning going to keep them there. We're not going to let Ohio State jump them. We're going to keep Texas at 4. No reason to move them back. I mean, they went around. They smacked Baylor around in that game.
Baylor's not looking good
Baylor's
at
not
all.
looking
I don't
good.
know
And
what's
we're going to get to bets in a little bit. UCF's an 11.5-point favorite.
Florida.
And I wonder, I got to see if John Reese is coming back in that game. But McLean, I thought, did a pretty good job. Oregon, number 5, dispatched Colorado. I think they're the most balanced team in the Pac-12. Blaine. Who's more balanced than Oregon?
Oh, God. What's Oregon State?
Oregon State?
They just lost.
No, that doesn't. I'm talking from a balance standpoint. I'm not talking from a record standpoint.
Enough.
More than Oregon?
Yeah.
Really?
Oregon State? You don't want a balanced football team. Oregon throws it a little bit more than they run it.
I thought you've been
I'm talking about balanced offense and defense.
Oh, I thought you were talking about balance from an offensive calling standpoint.
No.
Even that, though. I mean, I think Oregon's really balanced.
Well, Bo Nix being able to run adds a huge element to that, too, in the zone read game. All right, Ohio State at number 6. We did move them up after beating Notre Dame on the road. Notre Dame was in our top 10. They are now out of our top 10. Not out of our mind completely, but out of the top 10 right now. And the 2 that I'm not skeptical about, and we're going to find out, not Penn State. They go play Northwestern, who Minnesota, PJ Fleck, I'll never forgive you. But Penn State at 7, going to play Northwestern. I still don't trust that offense is a little bit Notre Dame-ish to me. They're not able to hit a ton of explosive plays. I haven't seen they've got some good pieces. I mean, I like Drew Aller, but they just lack explosiveness. I think that's what's going to cost them when they play Ohio State and Michigan. Then Utah at 8, going to Oregon State. Wounded animal, wounded beaver this week. We're going to get, we previewed it yesterday.
Yeah.
I like Oregon State early. That line shot up to 3. Will Cam Rising play? I'm done guessing. Because Kyle Whittingham is like the Riddler. Like, I can't figure it out.
Cam Rising back, that's the most balanced team in the Pac-12, in my opinion.
Man, I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think Utah is going to be in this top 10 long if Cam Rising doesn't come back.
I don't think so either.
I mean, those quarterbacks behind him, they're good players, but they have a ways to go.
Well, yeah, Nate Johnson, he's not developed enough as a passer, and Barnes, there's just a ceiling to his ability. Then we got UW, Washington at 9. All right. I don't think their defense is bad. Somebody on Twitter was like, Jake, you said Washington defense is bad. No, I didn't say they were bad. I just don't. They're still untested to me a little bit. I know Washington's going to be able to score. You got Penix and Polk And all these guys are turning on offense. We know how talented DeBoer is, too, when it comes to putting together an offense that can score. But Washington at 9, and we're going to find out. I mean, you look, that's 3 Pac-12 teams right there. All right, you got 3 in the Big Ten. You only got 1 in the SEC. How crazy is that? You got 1 in the Big 12. It's Big Ten and Pac-12, what's formerly the artist formerly known as the Pac-12, heavy. So, number 10, between USC, another Pac-12 team, and Oklahoma, a second Big 12 team. Before we get to the poll, David, who would you put there at 10?
Man, I'm 50-50 on this. I think it'd be a great football game. Just because of the Caleb Williams factor, I would probably go USC, but I do want to see how this defense gets tested down the stretch of the Pac-12 schedule.
Yeah, I'm going to go Oklahoma. Until, again, somebody shows you who they are enough, believe them. This team at USC, and I could be wrong, we'll find out. You didn't prove it against Arizona State to me, who's not exactly the Globetrotters offensively. They look like every team that Lincoln Riley's had. That's what they look like to me, except I don't know if they run the ball as well as some of the teams that Oklahoma had when Lincoln Riley was there, because the offensive line isn't as good as what he had in some years there at Oklahoma. But I'm going to go with the Sooners, with Brent Venables. I think they fixed the defense from an athleticism standpoint. They're not giving up the explosive plays like they used to last year. Stutzman is one of my favorite players to watch. Dylan Gabriel, if he stays healthy, Diet Tua out there running that really fast offense with Jeff Lebby. I like the pieces they have on the outside. I think Farouk is an absolute alien. I'm going to go Oklahoma, not by a ton, but if they played on a neutral field, I think Oklahoma is a more balanced team.
If they played right now, I'd pick USC. Later in the season, I'd probably pick Oklahoma, because I think the defense is getting better each week. You just gave up 6 points against Cincinnati. I watched every play of the game. You played well, but Cincinnati missed a lot of opportunities. They played now.
Emmy Drone's at quarterback. I could have told you that.
Right now, give me USC if they played right now. But later on in the season, I'd probably definitely take them, because I just believe in Coach Venables like that. USC doesn't get better week in, week out to me. They don't. They kind of stay the same, especially defensively. But if you watch Oklahoma, like if you go back to the weeks and watch Oklahoma, they just progressively get better every week. So when the end of the season comes, like Oklahoma is usually max peak.
I would love to see Oklahoma play USC right now.
I'd love it too.
That would be an incredible
great game. And I love this top 10. I think any one of these teams could give any of the other ones a great ball game.
Well, that's the beauty of this year, right?
But I'm just as fascinated by 11 through 15 to really 17 right now. I mean, think about Alabama with 1 loss is there. LSU with 1 loss is there. You got Washington State's right there. I think Miami's starting to creep up into that category. We talked about North Carolina a little bit. I think
Notre Dame's still hanging around.
Notre Dame is right there.
Duke?
With a loss by 1 foot.
Duke's right got a chance this week.
Like 11 through 16 is just as interesting.
Look, Duke beats Notre Dame this week at home. Duke beats Notre Dame this week at home. We can really start to have a conversation. Like an in-depth, hey, Dad, let's sit down and talk about it. We need to have the talk.
And that would clear,
not about what you thought. It's about Duke.
And that would also simultaneously clear Notre Dame out of the way, because right now they're not cooked to me. I mean, 1 loss.
No way.
They have a tough battle ahead because they don't get the benefit of that conference championship game. But 1 loss by 1 foot on the last play of the game to a great Buckeyes team. Notre Dame's going to be in this thing if they run the tape.
I feel like Clemson hurts them a little bit with already 2 losses.
Well, here's if you're Notre Dame, you are rooting for cannibalism in the Pac-12. You are absolutely 100% rooting for the team that wins the Pac-12 championship, the conference championship game, to have 2 losses, and you run the table. Because if they go 11-1, right? If they end up going 11-1 with that resume compared to a 2-loss team out of the Pac-12, I think Notre Dame gets in if it comes down to that 4th spot. But what you got to really hope is, if you look at the SEC, that Georgia doesn't run the table. And LSU doesn't run the table now, because you'd have an 11-1 LSU versus an undefeated Georgia. LSU beats Georgia. Does a 1-loss Georgia team get in over a 1-loss Notre Dame team?
That's what I'm saying. So if you're Notre Dame, you probably want Georgia to run the table. and just say like, hey, the winner of the SEC is getting in. Let's just go ahead and make it an undefeated team, right? Instead of having the scenario you're talking about where now you got a one-loss LSU team or a one-loss Bama team beats Georgia, who gives them one loss, and now the committee's having to pick. And then you also, in the Big Ten East, you want the Buckeyes now to go undefeated. You want them to beat Penn State and beat Michigan and win the Big Ten because that's your only loss.
Agreed. But I think on the same inverse, you could look at the SEC and say, well, I'd rather have maybe if the SEC is guaranteed to get one team in, which I think they are, why not hope that you have two-loss teams or a two-loss team that wins the SEC the way you think in the Pac-12? Now, what's the reality of that happening? Will Georgia drop a game? I mean, at Tennessee could be interesting. Tennessee's got to, really figure it out in the front seven defensively because we know what Georgia's going to try and do to them. And Georgia's getting healthier as they go along. They're adding Ladd McConkey, a.k.a. Haru, the Great White Ninja, as well. But, all right, poll, what's it saying, Blaine?
All right, who's number 10 right now? USC or Oklahoma. USC is sitting at 59%.
Wow. Okay.
Oklahoma is sitting at 41%. We can let it milk for a little bit, or we can call it now.
What do you think, David?
Y'all call it.
Let's call it.
All
right, USC.
USC. We'll put USC.
Thank you, Booster Club.
USC at 10. And you know what? You can make a logical argument.
We'll tweet that out.
Yeah, you can make a logical argument for that. Caleb Williams leading the Heisman race right now. We're going to drop our Heisman
4 Pac-12 teams, boys.
4 Pac-12 teams. How about that? In the last year of the Pac-12.
Going out in style.
And we're talking about Washington State, too.
Yeah.
Hanging out right there. It's just wild. It's just absolutely wild. But all right, let's get to the Booster Club.
All right, let's go to Qsmo, Jimbo, $5 donation. Appreciate it. He says, if Colorado goes to a bowl game, does Deion win Coach of the Year even if they get blown out in their final game?
I would not be against it. With what? Look at the rest of the schedule. So for them to go to a bowl game, they're at 3 wins right now. You get both Arizona schools, which Arizona is not a walk in the park. That's comparing Arizona.
You saw Arizona State put some points up on USC.
But I think Arizona's a much better team, even though they only beat Stanford by 1, played bad. Dolores sometimes puts the ball in harm's way. Arizona's not going to be walking the park. You got Washington State, and then you've got the rest of this gauntlet. You've got USC.
But what does the rest of the country do? What does Mike Elko at Duke do? Like,
he runs
a table and does something, like 6. If he's saying 6-6, I guess is what he's saying. There's a different way to make a bowl game. You go 6-6.
David, no one cares about the rest of the country. It's about Colorado.
Apparently, I get it. 6-6. I mean, Mel Tucker won 5 games there.
Yeah,
and took off the.
No, you sure? Has anybody ever won a game?
Coach of the Year?
Has anybody ever won a game with Colorado before Deion?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I don't think Cordell Stewart ever won a game.
You
remember what was it? Dan Hawkins that was there. You remember the God? He had the brown hair. Is Dan Hawkins? He was at Boise State too, I think.
Yeah,
he did. I think he did all right at Colorado, unless I'm just absolutely losing my mind. There's the one guy, McIntyre, who brought in and out like all the time to his players, and they never won anything.
Yeah, let's go to Ethan Andrew, $10 donation. Ethan, appreciate it, brother. He says, is this the year that we get a top 10 matchup of Michigan/Ohio State, Texas, Oklahoma, Washington, Oregon, and Miami FSU in their respective weeks?
God, I hope so.
Would be great for college football. Why am I sweating?
You talk about a crazy rivalry league. That would be. You know what though? It looks like we're on course for that. Right, somebody's going to lose. Right, somebody's going to lose. Something's going to happen. But I tell you what, man, I mean, this year in college football seems like the anomaly. Like I said, there's nobody sitting on top of the golden hill that you're like, oh my God, no team's going to be able to catch this team, or this team may beat this team 65-7 in the national championship game. And it's great. We needed that. We needed this after last year when it was just a bloodletting at the end, even though Ohio State did put up a good fight against Georgia. But we all know what happened in the Natty with the murder of TCU.
He break cage.
And he get this.
Let's go to D. Holly, 7397 with a $5 donation.
D. Holly, a Holly Jolly.
Thought Oregon should have been highest of Pac-12 teams or right behind Washington. I think we have had a tougher schedule and just as dominant as UW.
He said
Oregon. I thought Oregon should have been the highest of the Pac-12 teams or right behind Washington. I think we have a tougher schedule and just as dominant as UW.
Yeah, we look where we got Oregon. We've had Oregon up there. We've had Florida State up there.
The AP has them at 9.
Yeah, I just and the AP has Washington where at 8?
7.
It's 7,
and USC in between them.
I mean, when you look at both these teams, here's the difference. It's defense to me. That's the difference. If I'm looking at both these teams, who do I trust more? I trust Dan Lanning and Oregon's defense more than I trust Washington. Look at the quarterbacks. Penix and Bo Nix, both balling.
Penix is slinging.
It's funny. Yeah, he is, man.
No, Penix may have the best. Him and Caleb Williams, strength-wise.
Tua's walking so Penix can run.
Yeah, look, Penix, if you watch him, he can absolutely spin
It's a beautiful ball.
You talk about throwing the whole
It's a
shot against cover
beautiful
two.
ball.
He threw one.
To the field.
I
the
know.
field.
That's what I'm saying. Like I hear a shotgun noise every time he throws it. Like I
I
like.
just want him to stay
don't
healthy,
know.
man. Stay healthy, please.
Yeah. What's
wanna
up with
see
his
this thing.
lefties and staying healthy?
I'm telling you, dude. Tua, he's opening the door for these cats. Dylan Gabriel.
Dropped to 70 piece.
We'll see. Let's go to Fergie Ferg, $10 donation.
Love you long time.
That Fergie Ferg. Good morning, gentlemen. How dare you assume my gender? Says, let's go, Hogs. If Jimbo gets on the field again Saturday, he's going to get a Razorback tusk in the chest. The 12th man only gets one free no contact play, not against the Hogs, baby.
What are you
Yeah,
doing,
did you see Jimbo that like as he was on the field and realized he was on the field, it's like, damn.
He just stood there.
Yeah, who's going to say? Yeah, I wonder who's going to say anything.
We're gonna get to that when we get to bets, because if you didn't see, Connor Wegman reportedly out 2 to 4 weeks.
Did see that.
They're saying, but they said it's not a high ankle, so we can come back a little bit quicker.
What a great luxury, though, to have Max.
To have Max Johnson.
Let's walk right in. Hey,
Right?
Max.
If you're gonna
eighth year.
if you're gonna have Max Johnson as your backup quarterback, it's a pretty good situation. Didn't leave in the portal.
Max
it's like
just
LSU.
picked up right where he
That's
left
fire.
off. Just right where he left off. Cool, calm, collected in the pocket. Never panicking.
Speaking of lefties,
Yeah, I'm telling you, what's going on right now?
they looked better when
Bunch of lefties.
than Wegman. But I'll take Connor at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I hope he gets back quickly, because you got Arkansas, and you got Bama, you got Tennessee, you got a bye week. No, you got South Carolina, then a bye week, and then Tennessee, I believe. I tweeted it out yesterday, the next 4 games. So you need to get back. It's a big deal. But speaking of big deals, all right, we know skincare, right? You got to look good. You got to look good to play good.
Facts.
All right, and with Genucel, it's for men, for women. We all use it. How do you think I got this beautiful glow going on? I mean, look at David Cohn. I mean, he's shining right now. That skin looks like it was painted on. That's because Genucel helped paint that beautiful picture on that beautiful canvas over there. Blanya, you can't see it under his beard right now, but that's all Genucel.
It is.
Yeah, it
It's
is.
smooth.
It is, yeah.
Silky smooth.
Yeah. Lather in the keels in the shower.
And here's what it helps with. Sunspots,
Huge.
brown spots, discoloration. You got some red inflamed patches going on. All right, look, be honest with yourself. We can see it. All right, you think we can, but we can. That all disappears in front of your very eyes when you use Genucel. And guess what, David? You want me to blow your mind right now?
Hit me.
You want to hear an amazing guarantee? You'll see results day 1, and you get that bread back. They're
Really?
giving you the money back.
Wow.
Exactly
it's like
right.
a guarantee on the box.
There's not a better guarantee than that. Hey, I believe it works so much that if it doesn't work instantly, you get the legal U.S. tender that you gave me back.
Wow.
That right there
Pride in your
is
product.
about as good as it gets. And Genucel's most popular package, which includes the dark spot corrector plus the classic Genucel bags and puffiness treatment and immediate effects, all at about 70% off. That's more free than it isn't, okay? So let me make this very simple for you. It's a great gift for the lady, maybe for your guy if he's looking like, one of the 101 Dalmatians, you want to get rid of those spots. That's what I'm saying. Cruella DeVille's running around chasing you in a fur coat. Go to Genucel.com/booster and start looking years, even decades younger tomorrow. Like I said, say goodbye to dark spots, liver spots, and puffiness under the eyes and crow's feet at Genucel.com/booster. That's GENUCEL.com/booster. Look, Christmas right around the corner. All right, you want a good birthday gift too? Say, your girl or your guy's birthdays before Christmas. Maybe it's on Christmas.
Halloween.
Halloween.
You want Reese's? Yeah, I don't want candy corn.
Yeah, I'd rather
baby.
eat Genucel than candy corn.
Trick or treat,
Honestly,
some Genucel for your feet.
That's exactly right. All right, Monday Night Football. These best bets. We got phone calls too. The lines are about to open up. 1-855-236-3228. As always, it's Georgia Auburn week, so I do expect some
Who cares?
trash talk coming from that way. But I don't know how many Auburn fans really want to come in and put on the
Yeah,
line.
we're too worried about us.
All right, Rams at Bengals. Bengals won their first game finally. But man, it was ugly.
God, dude, Monday Night Football's been trash.
The college football has been so much better
So
than the
much
NFL.
better.
I agree.
And I
So
love
much better.
football. No matter if they're high school, NFL, playing in the backyard. but just the watching them in college has been so much better.
It has. I mean, and look, the Bengals
Needed
you can tell
it.
they've been trying to protect Joe Burrow because he's hurt. I mean, there was a point in last night's game, I think before the third quarter, they didn't throw a pass really over like 12 or 15 yards. They're trying to get rid of it quick, which does two things. One, if that calf's hurting, it's tough for you to plant that back foot, especially when your right foot is righty, and step into that throw and drive that ball down the field. And it prevents you from getting hit. But it just seems like the Bengals were so limited because the Rams were like, all right, we're going to play 2 wide safeties. We're going to keep everything in front because we don't think y'all are going to throw the ball deep. All right, and I know you would feel like on the other side of that, oh, well, why don't you play 1 high safety and play everybody tight? No, you want to just nickel and dime us down the field. Eventually, we believe you're going to screw it up because it's hard to go 8 to 12 plays and score touchdowns. But they found a way to win. I was more disappointed, and I think some of it, David, was unfortunate. Matt Stafford had a turnover or two. They were on deflected balls. But man, he makes a couple throws a game where I'm like, good God. Like early in that game, him fitting the basic in there, like.
And what's crazy about it is he can do it from such a compressed. He doesn't have to extend in the pocket to be able to make these throws. Like if I throw my best throw ever, I'm making some of these throws too, right? Like a clear pocket, all that. These guys like Aaron Rodgers and Matt Stafford, especially to me, can just with a flick of the wrist with a guy in their face throw the ball as hard as anyone else, that's the craziest part to me when I watch him really, especially throwing the football over the middle of the field the way he does. Puka Nacua set 5 receptions again, 72 yards. Tyler Higbee, Tutu Atwell had some huge catches.
Yeah, he did.
He got a touchdown taken back too.
I know.
He was out though. He stepped out.
Yeah,
on the other side, Jamar Chase, 12 catches, 141 yards.
There it is.
Out,
Well, they put him in the slot, and they're like, all right, you're going to let everything happen underneath.
They're lining him up in the slot twice as much as any other season. So
yeah. Well, you got to get your best players the ball.
I just didn't understand why the Rams didn't run the ball when they got in the red zone. Like, what? Sean got too cute last night. He got too cute from the first time they got in the red zone. Like, Kyron Williams, a good back. That offensive line's playing pretty well. You had the Bengals on the ropes a couple times.
They were playing pretty well. Until that game yesterday, I think he gave up 7 sacks.
Yeah.
7 sacks.
I mean, you know how you
Stafford's
have
getting killed.
You run the ball well and then run play action.
Well, yeah, right. I don't think that there's a lot of plays in that game. I mean, you go back to multiple 3rd and 1s, where Sean tries to get cute and gets in shotgun and throws the ball. But with the guy who had the over Matt Stafford's passing yard, Sean, I appreciate that a lot. But I mean, right now, Rams you had the opportunity to win this game many times.
I thought they were the better team.
From top to bottom, I did too. But one, it's probably a good decision to guard Jamar Chase. I mean, beat me with anybody. I'd rather you beat me with T. Higgins any of the day. I thought Joe Mixon looked well.
I thought T looks bad.
Yeah, T didn't look great. T changed his number and everything changed. I don't know. T doesn't look that. It's a real thing. It's some bad vibes right now with T. Higgins, but I think he'll get back. Joe does not look healthy. Joe's looks like he's getting protected. That's what Joe looks like.
Yeah.
We had an undefeated matchup with the Eagles and the Bucks. Got back to a little bit of normality here with the Eagles remaining undefeated. DeAndre Swift starting to take over that running back one role there with 16 carries, 130 yards for Philly.
Yeah, somebody said that's the real Kelsey Swift combo that I care about, which I thought was hilarious.
That is good.
I thought the Eagles defense looked like the Eagles defense yesterday. They'd kind of been, not that they were playing bad, but you just expect dominance. And watching Jordan Davis and Fletcher Cox line up next to each other, and then Jalen Carter. Blaine, you tweeted yesterday, how did this man fall?
Y'all remember the draft? I was there
How did he fall?
He should be.
They got him and
top
Nolan Smith.
3 pick. And he fell to what, 9?
Yeah.
How? That's what I don't like. That's what blows my mind. People, especially in the draft, they just get so, they do too much. They do too much. So you can turn on tape. Right?
Best player available.
You can turn on his tape 3 plays.
Yeah. And remember, Kobe Dean's hurt. I tell you what, that Blankenship, that white kid they got at safety, Reed Blankenship, can play, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Can absolutely play.
We kind of talked about this earlier for the show, the QB sneak thing. Okay, you don't want it. You want it gone.
Man, I think
But why don't more teams do it? And then David had a great point. Well, Jalen Hurts squats 700 pounds, but then David said Tom Brady was one of the best ones to do it ever.
Tom Brady was one of the best ones to do it before you could push.
Yeah.
Well, I think the Eagles mix up the cadence really well when they do it too. If you watch, they're never on the same beat. A lot of teams, when they run it, they're on the same beat. You kind of get a feel for it. But defensively, to me, no, man.
Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't. I don't believe, if you're not able to pull somebody forward, which that's the rule, you can't pull somebody. but you can push somebody forward. I don't understand that.
Yeah.
I don't understand that. Like defensively, to me, the only answer is, well, we line up in a bear front, like tight bear, like two eyes and a zero, because you almost got to. And then we push our guys. But in order for me to push our guys, I got to take 3 guys out of it. That's 6. You just go run Mayday or the toss to the side.
As someone who just cannot stand teams lining up in the shotgun on 4th and 1 from the 1-yard line, I love to see this. This is football. Let's get under the center and let's really old school get the ball across the goal line however we have to. The biggest problem for me, which I think is where you have the best argument, is forward progress. Like, how are you going to tell the offense that you can push your player in the back and as far as they go, you get those yards? But if the defense lines up and does the same to you and pushes you back 5 yards, you're still at the 1-yard line.
It makes no
forward
sense.
progress.
David, let's not give logical things to
That's the part.
They always hate on the defense, man.
That I would be a little bit mad.
They always hate on the
All right, last one here for the NFL. Joe Namath just came out and blasted the Jets
totally
organization and Zach Wilson. So Joe Namath was getting interviewed. He said, I don't take anything positive out of this game. It was awful. You sit down on the play. I mean, you just go right down. What happened? I thought you were trying to win and make plays. You quit on the play. What's going on? It's disgusting. I wouldn't keep Zach Wilson. I've seen enough of him. These guys aren't picking the right players. He's talking about the organization now. These guys aren't picking the right players. They aren't doing a good job of coaching. It's evident. I mean, you've got to look and see. If you have an eye for football at all, you see that things are haywire. It's too crazy. They need to fix it. And getting rid of a lot of people and bringing in new ones is the way to do it. Do you know, if Aaron Rodgers with his Achilles, is this a completely different story? If Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Rodgers is healthy, like we're talking about
Garrett Wilson.
Joe Namath would be on the sidelines for every game.
This went from the Notebook to a Transformers movie, really.
Yeah, it did.
Really?
Yeah, it did.
Quick.
Look, Zach Wilson's, and look, I know the Jets' offensive line isn't great, and they don't have the most weapons out of anybody. Can't do it.
But that just shows you the importance of the position.
Yeah.
Not only the importance of the position, but when you put a Hall of Famer in there.
Dude, it's 4th and 11, and you're throwing checkdowns to the tight end. Like Garrett Wilson, I thought at one point Garrett Wilson was going to slap that.
Well, you saw Quinn Williams get into it with a coach on the sidelines.
Yeah.
You saw Michael Carter get into it
because they see how bad it is
on the sidelines. Like usually when you see something, this is like a one-off during the season. Sometimes players get into it with coaches, but if you start seeing multiple guys
from both sides of the ball,
from both sides of the ball, getting into their position coach, there's a toxicity going around.
Well, they know.
These guys know.
Yeah, they
know what it looks like.
They know if
they know what it looks like. Michael Carter's been in the league like 11 years.
Yeah.
Why are you picking up the phone and calling Phillip Rivers and saying, look?
You know who they did call?
Who?
Chad Henne.
They call Chad?
Chad said, no.
I got
Chad was like, nah.
Chad's like, Doug, hold on. I'm on hole 8.
I'm in Subway commercials.
Yeah, I'm on hole 8 right now.
You want to know who they're going to call?
Kirk Thuggins?
Captain Kirk.
I don't know why, though, because if you don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to play football again?
This year?
No, next year. Does he come back and play a season for the Jets?
I mean, I think he's going to.
Because if he does, how does that work out for Kirk Cousins?
I think sometimes, do you sign him to a mercenary contract? Do the Vikings want to get rid of Kirk enough and turn the next page now that they're 0-3?
There's only one guy who could come in and fix everything.
Tom Brady.
And it's Tom Brady.
What did I say?
I don't think
you called me crazy.
I do think you're crazy. I don't
think
me
crazy.
I don't think if the O-line was a little bit better.
You know how Aaron Rodgers brought all his wide receivers? He brought Lazar. And
Randall Cobb's just that fish.
What if Tom Brady
next to the shark?
What if Tom Brady comes in and is like, look, guys, I know y'all came with Aaron Rodgers. I'm bringing some guys of my own.
Let me introduce you to Julian.
My luggage is Louis. I'm bringing my own guy.
Yeah.
Right? Let me introduce you to Julian.
I'm sure they'd be like, perfect.
The little witch. Just be like, great.
Like, yeah, this is Gronk. This is what was
I'm bringing Gronk.
What was the other kid's name? Chris
It's like a band that shows
Chris Hogan.
Yeah.
The other one they had. He's like, yeah, we just found him in the middle of Utah.
They're
like, hey, Wes Welker's been doing push-ups this whole time.
Yeah, Chris has just been running cross country since he retired, so he'll be fine. Chris, run a post.
All right. We're going to get to calls here in a minute, but let's get into some early bets we like.
Oh, I love
best bets, week 5.
Yes.
Who y'all got?
I love it.
All right, I want to start this out. Clemson. Weird number right now.
6?
Number I don't like, +7.
7.
At home. I would right now, if you don't want to wait, if you're worried it's going to go down, what?
Buy a half.
Yeah.
Buy
right
a half.
now, if you're worried it's going to go down and you don't want to buy a full point, I'd go ahead and buy the hook. Now, listen, Gadsden's hurt for Syracuse right now. He's their best target. But let's not forget, what gave Clemson a lot of trouble last year in a game that Syracuse abandoned the quarterback run game in the second half. Come to find out Garrett Schrader was hurt. Sean Tucker was beat up. But I still wouldn't have abandoned it. It's on the road to Clemson. We got to hashtag find a way. And there was a horrible late hit penalty in that game last year at Clemson that kept it. But last year was last year. This Syracuse team, I know it's not called the Carrier Dome anymore, but I'm going to call it the Carrier Dome because that's what I think it should be called. They always play Clemson really tough up here, and this is what they call the Dream Crusher spot for Clemson. All right, no natty. Nuh-uh, Dabo. Should have got the new toaster. Like I was telling you, you're done with the natty. Clemson's not going the natty. You're hanging by a thread here to even have a chance to go to the conference championship. Syracuse, I know they started out hot last year and kind of fell off a cliff. I like Garrett Schrader in this run game to at least cover the
This game's
7.5.
always close.
To at least cover the 7.5. Like I said, it's a waiting game. Which way is it going to go? I think it's going to go down. I think it's going to go to plus 6.5. So I don't think it'd be crazy to go ahead and buy the hook right now. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and take. No, I'm not. I'm going to wait. I'm not going to lock it in yet. I like Clemson plus 7.5.
Okay.
You want to take the plus 7 and play the push.
By the half a point.
By the half a point. Come on, man. Which one do you like, Blaine?
Oh God, I tell you one I love.
Are you head over heels?
I love. Gosh, I've never been in love with something so much in my life. Might be the play of the year.
Really?
So far.
Play of the year.
It's Georgia, isn't it?
You get all your money.
Here he
All right,
goes.
you can take every cent you can find that you've acquired throughout your life. All right. Some books right now have Georgia at 14.5. Some books have Georgia at 15.5. You bet that down to 13.5. It's sitting at like minus 150. All right. And you put the rent on it. Auburn can't score. All right. And do you think they can't score against A&M? Let me tell you what it's not going to get better against. Georgia. Georgia's going to come in, run the football. The defense will hold on for a little bit, maybe a half. All right. It might be 13-0 walking in at halftime.
That smells about right.
You know, that's fine.
And look, Auburn's take time with Hugh Freeze. We're not gonna bash
Belo, great cage. And he get this because over time, what is it, Jake?
Gravity.
It's gravity. It's just a stranglehold effect, right?
There.
So anaconda, squeeze, boom, good. Right? Next thing you know, Georgia wins 31-7. Easy money. Take it.
What?
Don't.
Here's the question, though. Why would you not just take that and put it on the? Is Georgia scoring? 47?
Why are you buying it down then? If you think it's going to be 31-7,
because in the back of my mind, I've got skeptical hippo,
Robbie Ashford,
McPherson, late field goal, 73-yarder. I don't want to talk about it. All right?
Under 47, you're not.
I just don't. No, don't touch it. Stop it. Don't do that.
Why?
All right? We're not doing that. We're doing one thing because it just gets dangerous. All right. Late in games, it just gets dangerous. I think Georgia's going to pummel us. So maybe a late touchdown I don't like it.
So in order for that to happen, it would have to be 42-7, is what you're saying.
Yes.
You think Georgia's going to score 42?
Yeah.
Now, I think Kirby may get up by 10 and try and just run this one
milk.
Yeah, he's gonna run it out as scoring touchdowns and running it out. That's the crazy thing about it.
All right, I'm gonna go to a Friday night game. Utah and Oregon State
I like this one.
under 44.5. We talked about.
I think that went up, David.
Did
I
it?
think that went up.
I got it this morning. At
Let me double check here though.
Scanning.
45.5 on
Okay,
DraftKings right now.
45.5.
Great.
You know what?
Buy.
You don't even need
does
it
that mean
because
Cam Rising's playing?
My advice was going to be to go ahead and
I don't
buy
think
it
so.
down anyway. Like get a couple extra points, more in the 41, 42.5, make this an actual dog pick. We saw what Utah and UCLA just did, playing a game 14-7, where that defensive pick six really proved to be the story of the game. I think that's what you're going to get from Nate Johnson and this Utah team.
Do you wait though on this?
Well, here it started out Oregon State -1.
Mm-hmm.
It is now up to Oregon State -3.
Yeah, look, I like putting money
If
on
Cam-
Utah as well,
okay,
but
so
the
we're-
under's my favorite bet in this. And you're talking about, do you wait and see? Sure, you can wait and see. You can sit around, and you can talk to the butcher about. You get a good look at a T-bone by sticking your head.
well, dude, I'm saying if they come on Friday, I'm like Cam.
They're not going to tell you.
They come
Yeah.
on.
They're not
telling
going
you.
to tell you.
will
You
not
will know
know.
right before the game if Cam's playing.
Yeah, you will know the minute that Utah's offense trots out in the field. That's when you're.
What I'm saying
they've
is, I don't
warmed
think
them
it's
up.
going to matter. I don't think it's going to matter because, one, the new clock rules, with the way that both of these teams play defense, with some of the ways that we've seen, DJ Uiagalelei struggle, and you're going to play, I think, the best defense in the Pac-12. I like the under.
Okay. Yeah, I do. I like Oregon State right now. I like Oregon State.
Oh, without the guy protecting the city at night. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, even if they have Cam Rising in his first game back, I like Oregon State at home in this game. I'll tell you another Friday night game I like, BYU -2.5 at home against Cincinnati. I don't trust Cincinnati offensively. They did beat Pitt earlier in the year. Thank you. I had Pitt going 3-9, caught a lot of help for that one. But I think BYU's kind of found something a little bit, and they're playing at home.
That one's at 2.5 now?
That one's at 2.5. I would take it now. I may actually go ahead and lock. I'm going to go ahead and lock this one in. Credit Code Picks Tracker at BYU for Friday night is one of my 2 show bets. BYU -2.5. I'm going to go and lock that in. That's going off at -115. I don't trust Emory Jones. I don't trust him at home. I don't trust him on the road. I don't trust him at the market. I don't trust him at the grocery store. I don't trust him at the library. So for daggum sure, don't trust him over there in Provo. In BYU, that place is going to be absolutely nuts. So give me BYU right now, -2.5. Keaton Slovis, watch me throw this.
I trust Emory in the grocery
store. I
store.
like Arkansas +6.5.
Yeah. A&M. Do you? If it hasn't gone down, now that we know Connor Wegman is out, and the spread hasn't dropped, like now it's not like Arkansas -4.5.
Then you think it'll go to 7.5?
Wait to see if it'll go to 7 or 7.5.
You can do that. I think it's more likely to go to 5
the other way,
something like that. But especially neutral site, the way we saw Texas A&M play. I'm a big Max Johnson fan, but I agree with you. Like he doesn't give you what
Rocket Sanders back
does.
for Arkansas.
And the way you saw Arkansas gave LSU everything they could handle. Also LSU -2.5 at Ole Miss right now. I like LSU. I like LSU to go win by.
See, that's something I was looking at. I actually saw it. I think that, David, that may have gone up. I think it may have gone up to Ole Miss -3 unless it moved back, or I'm just absolutely losing my mind. I'm scanning for danger right here.
I think that'll be one that bounces back and forth.
It will bounce back and forth. Hook. What do you think about the over/under in that game?
What's it at right now? 50.
Shoot, I saw it at like 63.5, something like that. Let me.
The OSU Ole Miss
in the low 60s?
I'm trying to find it right now. Yeah. I'm looking through it. Why can I not find it? Is it off the board? Interesting.
I don't know.
What's another one you like, Blaine?
I mean, I'm rolling with David Cohn's boys over here against Nebraska.
First road game?
I mean, 18 says 17. If it's me, some books have it 17.5. Some books have it 18.5. It's me. I'm getting 16.5. I don't know if you've watched Nebraska and their new quarterback, but it's not a great situation. I mean, they beat La Tech, I think, last week, 28-14.
Yeah, they got like some small town.
He had a QBR of 25.
Mike Winchell.
Which is not, and I wish Mike Winchell was out there. At least you have a lot of heart. A lot of heart. And I would love Chavo out there to say, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. It's just going to hurt my feelings. But I think Michigan rolls these boys.
LSU, Ole Miss real quick. Ole Miss is +3 right now. The over-under is 65.5.
Yeah. Wow, it's 65.5, yeah.
It's a lot of points.
That's a lot the way I just saw Ole Miss play. Okay, well, I don't know. I don't know if I want to touch the over-under in that game.
Do you wait? If that goes to 3.5, I'm taking Ole Miss.
Are you?
At +3.5, yeah, for sure. For sure. A couple more. Duke +6 at home against Notre Dame. Coming off a tough one.
I like that. I actually like the under in that game. It's at 50 right now.
No.
I like the under.
I don't think you're
the way that both of these teams want to play offense. I'll tell you one I really like right now, and get it while it's hot. Georgia Southern -6.5 at home versus Coastal Carolina. This Coastal Carolina team, they're not the same team they were the last couple years. Grayson McCall.
I like that.
So Georgia Southern, where you're getting under the touchdown hook there at home, take that one now.
Oregon -26.5 against Stanford.
Down to 26.5.
You're welcome.
I saw it at 27. I like that. If you can get
you're welcome. They're going to kill Stanford. And Oklahoma -19.5 against Iowa State.
That's what I was going to say. That was my last one I had. I got it at -20 on DraftKings. Here's the real question. The over-under's at 48.5. Is Oklahoma going to score 49? That's the question.
That's the question.
They could. I got 2 questions for you. Florida +3 at Kentucky.
Man,
I'm starting to like this Florida team.
Well, David, it's crazy.
And I like this Kentucky team less and less than I watch them.
It literally, I think it just flipped. Yep, it just changed. -2.5 Kentucky right now.
What's the
going
money
off
line?
at -118. The over/under is 46.
What's
the money line?
the money line for Kentucky's -142, Florida's +120. I don't trust either one of these teams. I don't trust Kentucky on the offensive line.
Florida a little more than Kentucky.
You know, I just
on the road though.
46. I think I don't even at 2.5. You kind of want to take Kentucky, right? At home, finding a way.
Yeah.
Ray Davis. I love what he's doing at running back. Devin Leary
Just doesn't look like the same Devin
I
Leary.
just don't trust him under any type of pressure. And Florida's good enough to create some. Do we like the total other than the side on this play? You like under 46?
I put under 46 as well.
I agree with you.
I like under 46, but if it goes to 3.5, I think I'm going to take Florida with those points.
Yeah, if it goes to 3.5 for sure, I agree. I wonder which way that one's going to end up. And last one before we get to calls, USC Colorado. Colorado now +21.5, over under 73.5. I just don't know how you don't bet the over in this game.
Yeah, it's hard not to. I mean, you look at that and you think, well, that's way too many points. But then you see who's playing. It's like
Shadur versus Caleb. I mean,
the question is.
Well, I think this game will be a lot closer than what Oregon.
I agree. I like the +21.5 still.
The question is, how much success can Colorado's offense have against USC's defense? Because USC is going to score.
Yeah,
They're going to score
I'm not worried about
at will. So how many points can Colorado score?
Let me see.
73.
It feels like a 50 USC 50, Colorado 30.
Yeah, there's not a total.
If that's how it plays out, that's going to tell you a lot about Oregon's defense.
Yeah,
if that's how 100%. It plays out. If we're looking at another 45-14 game, then Colorado clearly knows some of the things they have to fix.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's no total team points yet. I'm going to be interested at 73.5 to see what the total team points is for USC. That may end up being the best bet on the board, but it started out at 24. Got bet down to 21.5.
Oh, another over that I saw. The only over on the board that I was interested in other than that one was Tennessee, South Carolina. What do you think about that one? It was 62.5 when I saw it.
Man, I can't believe it opened at 11.5 and then went up to 12.5. But remember, this is a revenge game for Tennessee, too. South Carolina took out Hendon Hooker last year.
I get that. But Spencer Rattler, I'm just thinking both teams going to be able to
What's it at? What would you say?
62.5.
Let's see. So, I mean, South Carolina, they can still put up points even with that deficient offensive line.
34-30 hits for you. I mean,
it's at 12.5.
Yeah. God,
I just don't feel like Tennessee's 12.5 points better than South Carolina.
37-27 is 64. And you said it's at what, David?
62.5.
I like the over. I do like the over.
Too.
I do like the over. And let me tell you what, you're always going to score when you wake up and drink Black Rifle coffee, all right? Not only do they have the ready-to-drink cans for people with no time to brew coffee in the traditional way, but their coffee subscription gives you a chance to purchase limited edition flavors. They give you nothing but the best. You got the Coffee of the Month Club. They just launched their new Halloween Pumpkin Spice Collection. That's right. Headless Horseman's Roast and the ready-to-drink Pumpkin Spice Espresso. That's what I'm saying. Get going 1,000 miles per hour. But pumpkin spice flavor is so good, it will haunt your taste buds for eternity. Ooh. You got that Headless Horseman's Roast.
Headless Horseman's. Ichabod. Cousin Ichabod.
Yeah, Blaine's got Gunship. Black Rifle Llama, Power Llama. Which is basically an Egyptian tank. It's a camel with machine
guns really good
on each side of it. So, go to blackriflecoffee.com. Use our promo code BOOSTER, BOOSTER, at checkout for 10% off your order. That's blackriflecoffee.com. Use promo code BOOSTER for 10% off. Black Rifle Coffee, America's coffee. We want that Flamin' Dragon brew, too. Let's get it before Christmas.
It's in the works.
You don't want to get the Christmas tree burned down to the ground. Black Rifle Coffee. Check it out. I'm telling you, it is absolutely the move. But calls, they're back.
Lines back open. Let's start with Matthew in Arkansas. Matthew, what's up?
What's up, boys? Heartbroken Hog here.
There he is.
What's up, man?
Well, I gotta tell you, 2-2 doesn't feel good by any means, but I'm feeling better right now than I felt about them last week after the BYU game. They showed a lot more fight against LSU this weekend.
No, without a doubt. I mean, they were overmatched going into that game. I thought offensively, what KJ did, what Dominion did, running the ball. Now you get Rocket back. You got to be able to flip the page. It's just one conference game. Got a big one going up against A&M, obviously in a neutral site. That game is always wonky. Max Johnson, the starter for A&M. Are you more confident now that Max Johnson's starting against you guys, or less confident after the way he played against Auburn?
Honestly, I don't feel any different about the game, no matter who is playing. I'm more concerned about Bobby Petrino being the one calling plays against us, because he's going to want to win that game more than anyone.
Oh, he's going to empty the bag. He's going to empty the bag. But if A&M can't stop with procedural penalties, it's hard to empty the bag when you're constantly in 1st and 15.
And also, real quick, I wanted to ask you guys a coaching question about the LSU game from the weekend.
Go ahead.
At the end of the game, when they had already wasted their timeouts and didn't have any left when they needed them, why not let LSU score with a minute left so you have more time for KJ to try and do something at the end of the game?
Look, I understand that. I've seen teams attempt to do that. A lot of times what happens is that team doesn't want to score, as crazy as that sounds. And you may let them open the gate. You may let them run through. But what they're going to do, and you don't know until you know, right, is they're just going to kind of run around a little bit and waste even more time and then go down. So the way I would approach it is I would let you try and score one time. And if you went ahead and scored, great, get the ball back, then we'll go do it. If you realize that we were letting you score and you decided not to score and went down, at that point, I've got to start trying to tackle you from there on out and knock the ball out. That's the way I would approach it, Matthew.
Well, thanks for your answer, guys. All right, y'all have a good one.
Hey, good luck this weekend, man. Hopefully you're a little less heartbroken.
Yeah, call in next week, man.
Next week after the game.
I definitely will.
Appreciate it, Matthew.
All right, let's go to Ben in Missouri. Ben, what's going on?
Hey guys, I know what feels a little bit better than 2-2, and that's 4-0.
Yeah, it's the Missouri Tigers.
Mountain.
Luther, take the burden off me.
Oh, I know. He's like that's a future NFL player, Blaine.
Yeah, first rounder.
Wow, he's good.
Well, I'm glad that I have the Tigers, because I'll tell you what, for the second time in 5 years, I need to tell Vance Joseph to get off my lawn.
Oh, God. It was so bad.
I didn't even watch it because I was talking to my dad before the season because we have YouTube TV. I'm like, do we want to buy Sunday ticket? I'm so glad we did not waste money.
For sure. Well, if I would have told you, though, Ben, that the Broncos were a disaster, what's the first thing you would have thought was the disastrous side of the ball? Offense, right?
Yep.
Russell Wilson, no. He really needs to go to the land of misfit toys. He can't do it anymore. But you give up 70? 70?
It's a lot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and again, Vance Joseph, he was the head coach, and then, he goes to Arizona, and then that defense wasn't great, and they beat Dallas yesterday. I get that, but my goodness, I mean, I don't care who you are. You cannot give up 70 points and keep your job. And the fact that 9 a.m. rolled across my desk yesterday, basically, and I didn't get an alert on my phone that said that he was fired. I mean, I don't know how you keep your job.
I said yesterday, there are some errors, there are some outcomes that are fireable offenses. And getting 70 points dropped on you is a fire. It'd be different if the Broncos were undefeated at this point, playing great on defense, and you had 3 pick sixes, or they picked up a couple fumbles, or ran a couple kicks back. That's one thing. But you haven't been playing great, and you just gave up 70. That is a fireable offense. But, Ben, I do want to ask you, Missouri, minus 13.5 at Vanderbilt this weekend. How are you feeling about that?
Look, Vanderbilt's played us close. I do remember, I think it was 1 or 2 years ago in Columbia. It might have been last year that we had Vanderbilt for homecoming, I think, and we only won by 3. And I was just sitting here like, yeah, this is why the SEC gives us an 11 a.m. kickoff against LSU because we can't. Because every time that we have something, it's like a prove it game. If we either lose or if we do win, it's against an inferior opponent. I mean, we went forward on 4th down in St. Louis against Memphis. I was like, why didn't we just run it? But okay. And then they get within a touchdown. It's just like, this is why we can't have nice things.
Yeah, you just had to survive that game, though, man. That Memphis game. Coming off the win against Kansas
That's a really good win.
I think you're going to be pretty happy with that win at the end of the year with what Memphis is going to do. But, Ben, call in next week.
I want to say one more thing, too, on the Broncos. I saw something yesterday going around on Twitter saying that there were different NFL coaches around the league saying that Mike McDaniel scoring 70 points on the Broncos was disrespectful to the game of football. The way the Broncos played defense was disrespectful to
I agree with that. Stop them.
He pulled Tua. He pulled Tua and the starters in the fourth quarter. They weren't even playing the last quarter, and they still scored 3 touchdowns. What else do you want him to do?
Yeah.
Like take a knee every time and punch you the football? It's the NFL. You get paid to do this.
That's
I couldn't
exactly
believe
right.
that narrative that I saw.
I want them to kick the field goal. I wanted them to break it so bad because at this point I wanted them to score 100.
So did Robbie Chosen One or whatever his last name is now.
Chosen One. Thank you, Ben.
Ben, thanks, buddy.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
All right, Kyle. Kyle's up in Ohio. Big win this weekend. Kyle, what's up?
It's Kyle McCord.
Oh, man.
Is this Kyle McCord?
Great weekend, boys. Great weekend.
Is that you, Kyle McCord?
It might be. You have no idea.
Nice. Man, I can't believe you threw the check down as much. Congrats, dog.
Nice game, buddy.
I know. Cade, proved something to throw them check down for Cade Stover.
Yeah, for sure.
Cade's really good.
Yeah, best Stover since Russell.
Yeah. But, yeah, I love you guys' show, but you guys just let me down when y'all picked Notre Dame.
Yeah,
man, but I mean,
You're welcome.
A foot away. We knew when we had Pollock on. By the way, Pollock, that was the only game that Pollock got wrong
he went 4-1.
during the picks as he picked Washington State. But, you know, it's one of those things where, and look, it came down to a foot, which these games typically come down to. But the game went about how we said it was going to go. You know, it kind of followed the timeline of what we thought. And at the end, Notre Dame drops that interception that really would have put the cap on how we talked about the game was going to go. But those are the plays you got to survive sometimes, man. And I tell you what, for Ohio State, I think it's a bigger – we know Ohio State can win games 45-42, right? We know they can win track meets.
Oh, yeah.
But watching them, I think that's the reason Ryan Day was really so fired up at the end. I don't think it was as much as what Lou Holtz said, but they won a gritty, grinded out, physical, grimy game that wasn't Marvin Harrison Jr. making 35 highlight catches or anything like that. It showed they can win in multiple ways, and it showed the maturation of an inexperienced quarterback. I think that's why he was so fired up.
Yeah, it seemed like when Notre Dame started to take off, well, I went through all the emotions this weekend. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, yeah, believe me. So is that one of the weekends where there's 2 holes in the wall and your team won? Like Blaine's talking about?
Pretty much. TV screens cracked, we still won. But
that's exactly right. And that's a great trip to go get the new
Totally
TV. Totally worth it.
But one more thing, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
What about Browns picking up Kareem Hunt? You think he'll fill in more, or you think they're going to stick with Ford and them?
Well, I mean,
I think they picked him up for a reason.
For sure, to spell him. But look, I like what Ford does in the pass game out of the backfield. Like he's a useful weapon throwing the ball to as well. He's a guy that you can split out.
I mean, what's better than having one?
Yeah, with Deshaun Watson and go empty and put him in the slot and feel good about it.
He didn't get worse with Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, I mean, we know Kareem Hunt's just a little muscle. Like that's what.
And who's also extremely good in the pass game. I mean, that's what he mostly did when Nick Chubb was there, anyways. But he was the third down back.
Yeah. No, I think it's fine. I thought Deshaun looked a little bit better fundamentally last couple weeks too. I mean, he was jumping all over the place, throwing, kind of reverting back to something we hadn't seen in a long time.
I think the Titans are the get right team. The NFL.
Get right team. Get right. Exactly right.
Said Nick Chubb's injury, not career ending.
Yes, thank God.
I don't think anything can end Nick Chubb's career.
Yeah. Nick Chubb's ended that injury.
There's an alien.
Appreciate it, Kyle.
Kyle, thanks.
And
buddy.
look, deep down, I'm happy for your Buckeyes.
Yeah.
I want y'all undefeated in November.
Hey,
I've been getting spoiled.
I need one more big win out of y'all this year.
Against Penn State.
I hope you call every week, but you for damn sure got to call the week of Michigan Ohio State.
Please.
Oh yeah.
Let's do it.
I want to see what gets said that week.
Let's get Cone pissed week.
Yeah, let's get Cone as mad as possible.
No anger here. No anger. Right. I'm at peace. I'm a man of peace. All right.
Oh, are you?
Thank you, Kyle.
Foreshadowing.
Oh, name.
Sasha in Austin, Texas. Sasha, what do you have for us today, man?
Hey guys, I gotta clap back to this Auburn fan that said A&M needs to leave the SEC.
Ooh.
And really, the only one that needs to leave the SEC is that trash quarterback that went out there, and I mean, it was like Tweety Bird. Like I thought a linebacker, and
Where's my gun at?
going through. It's like he went through and was like, "What did Coach Free say?" It was like, "Coach said Free's like, no, wait, like he just needs to leave."
Yeah.
And then we can get back to playing real football. and we can welcome the OU Sooners and the TU Longhorns, and then we can come in and we can all have a good time and play some real football.
Yeah. Sasha, Hugh Freeze came out and said that, they're waiting through the quarterback stuff, but it looks like Peyton Thorne's probably going to be the guy this week. And look, it's going to take time at Auburn. Missed in the portal, obviously, with Peyton Thorne. Can he redeem himself? It's one thing to go out there and have a bad game and make a couple bad throws, make a couple bad reads, but being nervous or scared like that and just folding up, to me, I just think it's tough to put that guy back out in the field, especially against Georgia.
No, now's the time.
Globonauts.
Yeah, now's the time. There's no way you're still afraid after this game. Because either one, you played okay, or two, you're dead. So, there's no...
You're going to... Talk about riding with the fear.
There's no time to be afraid when the things of Mordor are coming into.
And I hope Peyton Thorne does turn around, man. Like I want him to do well. I don't have anything personally against Peyton Thorne other than he made me waste.
Yeah, I'm an Auburn fan. I want Peyton Thorne to do great. I want to achieve the highest achievable things in life.
Yeah, dude, listen, Peyton, I don't know if you watch the show or not. You got to hang in there, bro. You're getting hit either way.
I know it's tough, dog.
That's what my dad used to say. You're going to get hit either way.
I'm not saying it.
Might as well throw a touchdown.
But you've been in the Big Ten for 3 years.
He just looks like he's just ready to get to the sideline to complain about something. His face just looks like I'm ready to go to the sideline and blame it on somebody else.
Yeah, he didn't turn when he was so...
He has it's not my fault face.
Yeah.
That's not what you want as a quarterback. Look at Bo Nix's face.
We appreciate it, Sasha.
Sasha, thanks so much, buddy. We appreciate you.
Go
ahead.
One more thing, guys. I got to get to Blaine. Because me and you had the same problem last week, is I sat Devon Achane. Do I bring Devon Achane in instead of Ford at Cleveland?
Okay, hold on. If you could still pick him up.
The reason I lost last week.
If you can still pick him up, you pick him up for sure, 100%.
No, I drafted Achane.
Oh, so he's still on your team.
Good. I didn't know he was going to be that.
You didn't start him.
Okay, yeah. If he's still on your team, wait. Because you got to remember the reason Achane played that much because Ahmad, their backup, was hurt. So you wait to see. You wait just to see
after
one his health.
Don't you just have to start him just out of?
You wait to see his health. Well, carries matter.
They're gonna feed him.
Snaps on the field.
How do you not?
Mostert dropped 45. All right, and Achane dropped that. So if you bring back Ahmad,
Mostert dropped 45.
Yeah, he had 4 touchdowns.
Dude,
if you bring Ahmad back, I just don't know. I think Achane will still get his carry a certain amount, but I don't think he'll see as much playing time. And they're playing the Bills this week, dog. This ain't the Broncos, all right? The Bills can play some defense. So I think right now the Bills are favored to win, and the over/under is 40-something.
Well, don't forget Jalen Waddle didn't play in that game.
Yeah,
Waddle. I rewatched the film yesterday. I rewatched the film from Dolphins Broncos, and I was watching it thinking the whole time. I was thinking, y'all just dropped 70, and Jalen Waddle didn't step foot on the field.
The Penguins.
But I play Ford from the Browns.
Interesting take. We'll see, Sasha.
Appreciate it, Sasha. All right,
appreciate it, guys. You have a good week.
You too, bud.
All right, boys. It's Jimbo Eagles time. We got Jimbo up in New
Big
York.
week.
Let's go, Tigers.
Big
Jimbo.
week. Jimbo, big Clemson guy this week, huh?
Good morning, fellas. Cuse is in the house.
Yes. Yeah, they are.
Yes. And it'll always be the Carrier Dome.
Yep, and guess what? I will be in attendance for that game too.
Oh God, we need picks. Feet picks.
I'm just gonna cut right to the chase here, and I'm about to give a pep talk to my boys in Orange. So get your popcorn ready.
All right, here we go.
The motivational music. If you
can we play the music, Justine? Here we go. Here we go, Jimbo. You should be able to hear it here in a second.
Right.
Ready?
Okay.
Ride it.
Yep. 339 days. That's how long it's been since we last came up short against these guys in Death Valley.
Let's go.
This Saturday at the Dome, we finished the job.
Oh.
QC time is over. No longer is it good enough just to keep it close with these guys. But despite what I say, it's meaningless if we don't execute. The Booster Club and my boys here in Crane Company don't believe y'all can win this game. Matter of fact, Blaine, a.k.a. Mr. Dragon over there, thinks you've already hit your win total for the season. People don't know about the hell that Allen went through to get on the field this season. My money is on him over their number one this week, by the way. They don't know about how quickly we had to regroup after losing our All-American tight end at the anchor of our offensive line for the season. Well, I'll tell you what Clemson isn't used to. They're not used to having 2 losses this early in the season.
Dreams crushed.
And when we deal with victory formation at the Dome, I want them no longer in the conversation to play in the SEC title game. Matter of fact, I want them demoralized. Let's cause chaos and alter the power structure in the ACC going forward.
Wow.
The wait is over. We put the country on notice of the Orange winner for real.
Woo!
When we get this done, who's house?
Let's go!
2023, pack the Dome.
I love it, Jimbo. I love it.
Most fans
Jimbo.
want their team to win the football game. He's out here trying to alter power structure.
Yeah, look, I love it.
conference.
I love it. Dino Babers, if you don't play that before the team runs out.
After hearing
Jimbo.
that, I've been high on Clemson. all year.
Jimbo, you said we didn't believe. I'm taking Clemson or Syracuse to cover.
Taking
That was
Clemson,
his-
Jimbo.
That was his best bet of the week.
Yeah, it's my bad. I'm buying the half and taking Clemson.
I had
plus 7.5.
Clemson covering this
I may
game,
sprinkle a
Jimbo,
little
but
bit on
after
the money
listening
line.
to that, man, I just don't know how I don't add more points to Clemson covering.
I'll keep it real.
That was funny.
I'll keep it real with you. They still look good. Look,
Hey, y'all, dude,
look, Clemson's defense is still flying around. Though. So
They are, but like how?
Sure.
I mean, they put a lot of pennies in the jar last week. Here's the question: health-wise, give me a Syracuse update.
Well, I think we have enough targets. Honestly, one of our wide receivers is kind of questionable right now, but we have an alien on the outside. His name is Damian Alford at 6'6".
yeah.
So we got some of the talent on the outside this time that Clemson is accustomed to having, even though that run game is good.
Look, man, that air is always weird in the
Well,
carry
Schrader
zone,
gets
dog.
weird in this game.
Man, he's
running.
good. He
He gets heavy.
I like watching him play football.
Jimbo, I hope y'all pull it
Jimbo,
off,
great
man.
call, man.
Thanks for
great
calling
call,
in,
Thanks for calling, Jimbo.
Great call, buddy.
Thank
All
you.
right, let's roll to
profile
another
pic looks
one.
good,
Let's
too.
roll to another one here. We got Michael in Texas. Michael, what's up, man?
Mikey.
Morning, guys. I don't know how I can follow up that TED Talk.
Look,
Hey, big
Look,
trust.
Jimbo brought the heat. They got a big one this weekend.
Confidence in yourself, Mike. We believe.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did. But I gave you all my take on Notre Dame, Ohio State, and I know the one thing I forgot to mention or didn't get time to mention was how McCord would do in the national stage, because I think that was his first time in a big
Yeah.
stage like that.
Yeah.
No, you guys hit on the head. He didn't lose the game for him. So, I mean, I'm a Michigan fan, but credit where it's due. He did well enough, and Ibuka just went off and everything else. So I got to give it credit where it's due.
Yeah.
he took what they gave him,
well,
and like that's what we didn't think he was going to do. We thought he was going to try and force it.
Yeah.
So, one other thing. I don't know if you guys saw this with the whole Ryan Day post game interview, but did you hear the comment he made about we only played one bad half in the last couple of years?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yeah.
Okay, because I heard that, and of course, my first thought was, Coach, I need to remind you politely about the last 2 years you played against us and how that went.
You know what Chaffee was talking about, Michael? He clarified in the press conference in the locker room afterwards. He was talking about the half that 2 years ago when they went up to Ann Arbor. And, of course, Michigan fans just came out on Twitter. And
I bet.
you not watch last year's game?
Yeah, Ryan Day, he's like oh boy,
Yeah.
like Drew Barrymore.
Selective memory
First
much.
aid.
I thought it was funny before the post-game interview what he said about Lou Holtz, the PR guy, came up to him and you could hear before
Yeah,
the
no, that-
interview.
no, that
and he's
was
like,
definitely-
he's like, take a breath. And Ryan Day was like, yeah, watch this. Watch up to the interview.
Really?
Yeah, you can hear it. I was like, yeah, watch this.
I didn't see
He knew he was
that.
about to tear Lou apart.
I didn't
Yeah.
see that.
By the way, Jake, the Lou Holtz impression is spot on. Keep it going.
Thank you.
That was-
You know what's
that was
funny?
the
I had
highlight
some
of the
people,
game.
I appreciate it, man. Like 95% of people liked it. Then I had some people, they were like, oh, man, you got this from the Pat McAfee show. I was like, dog, I've been doing that impression since before Pat McAfee had a show.
Wait, does Pat McAfee do that?
Like, apparently Pat McAfee did it on
They
the
did it
show.
on, like, they did it, like, when they interviewed Lou Holtz, when they said all that stuff, it was a guy dressed up as, like, Lou Holtz.
Yeah, I was doing this. Like, if you really want to say the people that did it first, it was Rick and Bubba who did it
Yeah.
first. So some of y'all geniuses need to figure it out. But I was doing that way before Pat McAfee even had. Pat McAfee was still in the NFL. when I
I'm
was
surprised
doing
some
that
people
impression.
can talk with just Pat McAfee shoved so far down the
I know, it's amazing.
Wow.
It's just you
It's
think Pat McAfee invented the wheel.
Yeah.
Yeah, but one more thing before I go. And speaking of Michigan, I've been hearing some things about how people are, saying, "Well, why isn't Michigan covering? How are they not covering?" Under already said things like that, and I guess you can call my "get off my lawn" segment in a way. But I mean, I'd say relax because, listen, we scored 30-plus points every single game, and we've held our opponent, every opponent. We haven't allowed double-digit points yet this year.
You're winning the way this team wins.
Yes,
There's a pattern.
You
A
did
good
cover
way to
last week
win.
from a half a point.
A good way to win.
God, I'd love to have. That's a high-class
It's kind of
problem.
like the way Georgia's won a couple.
Look, it doesn't, like, none of that matters so far about covering, all right,
Yeah.
until this Saturday.
Yeah. Nebraska plus 18.
Look,
This just feels like a 17-point win.
I agree, Michael. I agree. It's not. They're not covering because they're playing bad football. They're covering because they're not covering because they're
style.
playing the style of football
That's
that they
exactly
want.
right.
Which I watched Georgia play
Yeah.
when they suffocated. They're up against Tennessee, 2 touchdowns, and it's raining. And instead of going for a cover, they just win the football game and move on and win.
I don't know. I feel skeptical. Maybe someone should check Harbaugh out. I feel like he's betting against the spread, to be honest.
Don't eat a cheeseburger.
Well,
All right, you can bet it. You, like,
I was
What'd you say,
Blaine,
Michael?
You're taking Michigan. I was saying, Blaine, you're taking Michigan to cover.
You bet your ass, Mike.
literally.
Mike, no,
Mike,
do not
it's a
put that into
17-point
the
win.
ether. All right,
It's
Mike,
plus 18,
I need
it's
nothing but
17.
positive mentality from you, Mike. It's a
Hey,
cover this
look,
week.
I'm
Where's your
saying-
blanket?
look,
Because you're
I'm
getting
saying-
covered.
No, and you know what? You might be right, Blaine. So we'll see what happens this Saturday. But yeah, we'll see.
Big trust, Mike.
Big
Appreciate it,
trust,
Michael.
Mike.
Call in next
Thanks,
week, buddy.
buddy.
All right, that's it for today. We'll get everybody else on the line. Y'all call in tomorrow, all right?
Yes,
We'll
we.
have a call in tomorrow.
I'll try and get to call us a little bit earlier now that we're getting so many more. Than
Zay,
what we
John
normally
Luke,
had.
Kirk, everybody. We got people on the line.
Oh,
We'll get-
Kirk!
I just hope Kirk's not calling for Skyhook. Blaine, can you read the Booster Club while I'm going over to the board?
Yeah, let's go to Cole
Tell me
Frink.
don't do that. Sometimes I like to break the rules a little bit.
Cole Frink, $2 donation. LeBron is mid. MJ's the GOAT. NHL is back, baby. Come on, Cole. Let's talk
All right,
let's talk about things people don't care about.
All right.
Oh, goodness. Let's go to Luke BR, $2 donation. Blaine, I'm in your DMs. Let's cook it up.
Ooh, I like. Nice.
Luke, you trying to cook right now?
Somebody cooked here.
Somebody cooked here. Let's go to Voltar, $2 donation. I called him 15 times today. Busy signal every time. Well,
Baltar,
that's the
you're
cool
going to the front of the line
That's the
tomorrow.
cool thing about it, Voltar, is that when tomorrow's going to come and you can call in.
Do we start going to calls at 7:15?
Calm down. Calm down.
I enjoy it.
This guy.
Calm down.
I enjoy them.
Calm down. Let's go to Josh Rathmel, $5 donation. Lots of people are saying that my Jets need to wait and trade for Kirk Cousins,
Yeah.
a.k.a. Kirk Thuggins.
Yeah.
You think Coach Salas should be fired for his handling of Zach Wilson?
No.
I just
He
think
handled him. He brought Aaron Rodgers
you
in.
missed. You missed. Like,
Well,
look,
look,
everyone
look.
knew you missed.
Look, you missed,
The head
but then
coach?
you scored.
Yeah.
Blame the GM.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying it's the head coach's fault.
Oh.
No.
I'm saying it's look, someone needs to start calling me on draft day.
Aaron Rodgers got hurt, man.
Yeah.
Like, can we call you take away the starting quarterback from most teams in the world in football? You're already screwed. There's a reason he's a backup. Not everybody's as lucky as Texas A&M or LSU or some of these other places. They fixed Zach Wilson. You know how they fixed Zach Wilson? They benched him and brought in Aaron Rodgers.
So what do you do to fix it?
Huh?
What do you do to fix
You
it?
I
bring
feel like
in
I went
Kirk
over
Dougie
this 20
Thuggins.
minutes ago. Okay, you pick up the cell phone. You pick up the phone.
Guess what
All
you
right,
do?
I know
Watch
you have
David.
Phillip Rivers on speed dial.
No,
okay?
no.
Phillip ain't coming out.
Or Tom Brady. There's a bunch of them. There's a couple of them, I'll say. There's a couple of them. And then you hit send, and it calls them, and you ask them to come play quarterback for
And
you.
then they say no.
And then you call the next one.
Who's the
you
next
call the
one?
next one. It's like when you offer the starring role of a movie to Tom
How
Cruise
many
and
are
he
out
passes,
there?
you call Brad Pitt. And he passes, you call Keanu Reeves. You call Denzel Washington.
Is there a quarterback right now? And like, if you were to trade for someone other than Kirk Thuggins, who you trying to go get?
If
You're the Jets.
If I'm the Jets, if I'm gonna go get somebody, Taysom Hill.
threw up in my mouth.
Oh, man.
Give me
that'll solve it
Taysom.
all.
Let's take it back. Speaking of BYU, what? Nobody fights harder for longer than those guys.
Matt Corral. Hear me out.
Hear me out.
Hear me out. Matt Corral.
Heard his foot's doing good.
Speaking of Kirk Thuggins with the $5 donation.
No way, Kirky
Kirky.
Kirk, but I love you long time.
Send me to a team that deserves me, please. Maybe one with a defense, one that doesn't turn the ball over. Signed, chronically depressed Vikings fan.
Did you see the Vikings fan that was getting interviewed outside the game? That was like, look at all these people smiling with Vikings jerseys on. They should be exiled. It's like, burn your shirt. Burn your shirt. He's like, I'm going to
It's
die
just like-
without seeing the Vikings win a Super
At
Bowl.
what point does Justin leave? Sooner or later, you got to leave. Randy Moss left.
Kirk leave.
Randy Moss left. Stephon Diggs left. You just can't win a championship.
Here's the thing, though. What if the Jets did absolutely horrible, somehow end up with the number 1 pick? The Vikings.
They traded away.
Hold on. The Vikings trade with the Jets, right? For like a pick-to-me name later, and all of a sudden Caleb Williams goes to the Vikings. What? With Justin Jefferson?
Matthew Stafford.
All right.
All right.
No more. I got to read these bets.
All right, get into it.
All right. Last night, we're not talking about it, still in the green on the month. So we're betting baseball for the next couple of days. All right, woohoo. It's actually been going pretty good for us lately, but I probably just jinxed it. Give me the Brewers on the run line, -1.5, plus 136. And the Marlins, Braxton Garrett, guy with 2 first names, -1.5 on the run line as well. That's plus a dirty 130.
How about the Diamondbacks money line? -142. Lock it in. And I'm going to take the Blue Jays Yankees Nerfy no runs in the first inning, -135.
I love it. 2-0 yesterday. David hit that sound. What does that make me?
Oh, you want?
Yeah.
Making you happy over there?
Yeah.
You make me happy.
God, Matthew Stafford, you make me so happy. So happy, man. Thank you so much for that last drive. All right. Mariners, Astros, betting baseball. Great. Mariners, Astros, Nerfy -120 late game. Can't wait. And look, I mean, I'm going to keep betting this recipe until the cows come home. Give me the Braves money line.
God, why don't you just bet on Matt Olson hit a homer every day? And then Ace, he's going to go Cleveland -108 and the Rangers -175. All right. Anything else, Blaine?
Nope. I believe that is all the donations from today.
Nice.
Chat, great job.
Great job, chat. Make sure you hit that like button.
Nope,
right?
I lied. I'm a liar.
You're a liar.
Let's go to Scotty Louder. $5 donation. Is it possible for UNC to go undefeated in the regular season and possibly win the ACC championship game if Drake May breaks out of this slump?
Well, I don't think it's like I'm watching Drake. To be honest, we talk about teams winning not in the prettiest ways. North Carolina's undefeated, and Drake May is not absolutely lighting it up like he was last year. But look at what he lost off of last year's team. I think he's still kind of figuring out his personnel. Look, does North Carolina? I'm trying to remember the rest of their schedule. They play Miami, correct? Think I'm tripping?
I don't think they do.
North Carolina?
Who do they have left? Who does North Carolina have left? Right there. Come on, Professor X. Figure
they
it out.
have.
Oh yeah, they do. October 4th.
Miami left.
Can you run through it real quick, David?
Hold on.
Sorry. I'm trying to remember because we looked at this and we had him 10-2 for a reason.
And 7-5 for a reason, guys.
All right, so they're
You had him 7-5.
Yeah, so they can.
Then they get Syracuse, Miami, Virginia, Georgia Tech, Campbell, Duke, Clemson, and NC State.
God, they got Campbell this year. God, they're soup.
Thank God they're not.
They're soup. Impeccable.
All right. On that note, I think it is possible, but I don't think they're going to do it. I believe I had them losing to NC State as one of their losses.
And I don't think Drake May will win the Heisman, which is what I had.
Yeah, I got Quinn Ewers doing it. Come on, Quinn.
You got Caleb slowly painting his nails.
All right, we appreciate you guys. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Call us tomorrow as well. The callers have been fantastic. Chat has been absolutely great. Love getting y'all involved in the power rankings too. We do that for the NFL. Got a heck of a show for you tomorrow, same time, same place. Make sure you subscribe and like the chances of the Broncos stopping anybody right now. We're going. Counts. Gone.